Most fans would argue that Starrcade was the Wrestlemania of the JCP and WCW since its inception in 1983. The 1994 installment took place on December 27 at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium in front of 8,200 fans with an estimated 130,000 pay-per-view buy. The show was hosted by Tony Schiavone, Mean Gene and Bobby Heenan with Mike Tenay at interviews. In June of 1994, Hulk Hogan would make his WCW debut and go on to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship off of Ric Flair at Bash at the Beach. Hogan's run had a good start. Pay-per-view numbers went up. The average gate rose 599% by the end of 1994. However, only TV viewership was down. Hogan would also retire Flair in a rematch at Halloween Havoc. Then Starrcade came along, and while it was marketed as a triple threat, with Hogan, Vader, and Sting headlining the show in 3 main events, the show was the lowest point in WCW history. Hulk Hogan would face his real-life friend the Butcher, best known as Brutus Beefcake, in the main event for the world title. The match was a slap in the face to the fans, as just a year prior Ric Flair had one of his greatest matches in his career when he would regain the world title off of Vader. The card itself was poorly rated and Mr. T had no business being in a match. We attempt to make a much different card that would be worth a rewatch, since no one would ever recommend watching this show ever. Jim Duggan, C. versus Vader for the WCW United States Championship. We would leave this opening match as the audience were really into it, and Vader even got a pop from winning the title despite being the heel. In a post-match promo, Vader talks about how he wants the world title for a 4th time. Before the next match, Kevin Sullivan meets with Vader to talk him into joining his stable. Vader doesn't say much and Harley Race doesn't like the idea. The 3 Faces of Fear, Kevin Sullivan, the Butcher and Avalanche, versus Dave Sullivan, Dustin Rhodes and the Guardian Angel in a 6-man tag match. Stipulation: the loser Sullivan brother will have to submit to their winner brother. Dave Sullivan took a liking to Hogan months back and turned face, leading to his kayfabe brother Kevin to feud with him. Dave then gets allies in the likes of the Guardian Angel, Bossman, and Dustin Rhodes that sets this match. Avalanche manages to squash Dave to win the match for his team. Dave submits to Kevin backstage as his squire. Bobby Heenan blames Hulk Hogan for what happened with Dave. Johnny B. Bad, C. versus Jean-Paul Levesque for the WCW World TV Championship. Levesque, who would later become Triple H in the WWE, would replace Honky Tonk Man for the match. The match was a quick one, with Bad making a diving sunset flip for the 3 to retain the title and marking Levesque's final WCW appearance. Randy Macho Man Savage versus Arn Anderson in a singles match. Despite legal issues with Slim Jim, we would have Savage have his first match at the pay-per-view. Savage would debut on December 3 on WCW Saturday Night, cuts a promo on Hogan, but showed up unannounced. Out comes Arn Anderson with Meng and WCW security. He tells Randy that he has no business being in WCW, as this was where the big boys play. Randy challenges Arn to a match, and if he wins he gets a WCW contract. The match brings out the best of both men till Savage manages to win with a roll-up by holding onto the tights. Savage rushes out knowing he has a place now in WCW despite the cheat. Arn cuts a post-match promo demanding a rematch. Harlem Heat, C. versus the Nasty Boys for the WCW World Tag Team Championships. We would have Harlem Heat win the tag titles for the first time a few weeks back to set the match. Instead of a cheap DQ finish, Harlem Heat land the Heat Bomb on Sags to retain the titles. Alex Wright versus Beautiful Bobby Eaton in a singles match. Alex makes his pay-per-view debut taking on Bobby Eaton, who thinks Alex is a chump kid who is out of his league. Alex pulls an upset when Eaton rushes to a corner to land headfirst on an exposed turnbuckle, for Alex to flip over from the top and into a roll-up pin. Eaton snaps and beats down on Alex that WCW officials have to rush out to stop him. Hulk Hogan, C. versus Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. This goes way back to Hulk Hogan's debut and Sting coming out with his promo about wanting a chance to face Hogan. Sting is named the #1 contender after Halloween Havoc. They both get along at first and sign a contract for the match at Starrcade. At Clash of the Champions 29, Hogan and Sting were in a tag match against Kevin Sullivan and the Butcher, However, they don't work well together as the match ends after Hogan and Sting get into a fight. Hogan and Sting finally meet in the ring and they both bring out the best out of each other. Even though Sting is a better performer, Hulk mostly plays a bit of a heel in the match. Sting finally gets in a Stinger splash and goes for the pin. Hulk kicks out at 2 and hulks up for the 3-punch and big boot, but the impact has Sting drop to the outside, hurting his knee, giving Hulk a count-out win. After the match they shake hands, and as Hulk gets to the back he is viciously attacked by Vader, and we can see Kevin Sullivan laughing in the background. Did Vader join Kevin's stable? Will Vader get a world title shot? What did you think of this card? Would you like to see more WCW content? Comment, like, subscribe, and thank you for watching In the Plot.